Hey everybody, this is Adam and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. We're here to go over the insights we discovered from last week's surveys and dig into some other hot topics. Jake is here too, and we're joined by another special guest. This week we have Mark, who's the founder of Plate Snacks. Mark, thanks for joining us. Is there anything else the audience should know about you?
Thanks for having me. I work in software development for my day job, and I started Plate Snacks on the side. I'm a dad. I have two little boys, a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. So between my day job, the kids, and Plate Snacks, I stay pretty busy, but still find time to work out.
Hell yeah, man. Lots of babies on the podcast tonight. All right, well, thanks, Mark. We have a number of follow-up questions for you, but we're going to start with some survey results. This week, we're talking the space that most have for their home gym, bumper versus iron plates, bench needs for a home gym, larger rack attachments, and more. And with that, Jake, take it away.
Thank you, Adam. And to start off, we are going to try something a little bit new. So I'm going to go over the results here really quick in just a few minutes, and then we are going to dive into about 4 or 5 topics after that. So here we go. And this first one's random, but 70% did watch the Super Bowl. It's kind of relevant because we asked this question while the Super Bowl was going on. Next up, we have a few stats that tell us that most home gyms come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. In addition, they're also not necessarily the ideal space. So for example, about 2 and 3 are dealing with about 200 square feet or less. It's also pretty normal for someone to have a ceiling height that isn't too big of an issue. Over 60% have a ceiling height of around 8 or 9 feet. And then there's a smaller amount that have something like 7 feet. Then it's likely that you're not utilizing a full room for a home gym. We get this based off the number of walls that are being used. The majority are also not filling their walls with banners or flags. Only about 27% have 3 or more, and then over 40% actually have 0. This next one's relevant to our guest analyst, Mark. Nearly 3 in 4 have not heard of Plate Snacks, which Mark probably thinks is good, considering he seems to be just getting started. We also have some plates data. For most, bumper plates are the choice over iron for the typical home gym owner. Next up, we'll talk about storage. 54% are not satisfied with their current storage situation. We have some used versus new equipment data. So only about 1 in 3 have not added anything used to their space, but only 11% have added more than 66% used. So most home gym owners have a good mix of new and used equipment, but for the most part, it's likely that they're filling their home gyms with mostly new equipment as opposed to getting it off the used marketplace. One thing that we've noticed with these surveys is that a lot of people are really just adding to their home gym one step at a time. This next question kind of goes along with that. 60% think they will add to their home gym in the next 90 days. We also asked about benches. So 82% think that an adjustable bench covers their home gym needs, while just 30% think a flat bench does. So this is one of those things that people talk about. If you are a power lifter, you may not necessarily have a need for an adjustable bench a lot of the times. That's just an example of something I see. But for the most part, the average person wants an adjustable bench, and they don't really care that it may not be perfect as a flat bench. And then lastly, when looking at large attachments for power racks, the lat/low row attachment is likely the most popular when you're looking at some of the more premium or larger options to add to your power rack. So we're going to actually dive into that last question, the space questions, bumper versus iron plates, and then also the bench question. But other than that, Mark, Adam, was there anything that surprised you?
70% watched the Super Bowl. It's kind of low.
Yeah.
What's our percentage of American voters?
Oh, that's a good point. Probably 85-90%. So
That seems low.
seems low.
Everything else seemed to hit, right? What about Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, Mark, real quick, what did you think about less than 25% knowing who Plate Snacks was?
Not really surprised, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, being in business for just over a year and a half now, I quickly realized how small of a niche I've, carved, but I think I've just kind of scratched the surface. And I think just seeing how when you come across new businesses yourself or new Instagram accounts and stuff, you're like, wow, this person has, 100,000 followers and I've never heard of them, or I've never seen this product before. So it's just kind of crazy how you just randomly come across something new that has been around for a while and you're like, that's cool. Like, how did I not come across this sooner? So yeah, I'm not surprised.
Right. I can't wait to hear your story in a little bit. So let's talk the space questions first. So mentioned there were a few different questions we asked that dealt with this. So just to start off, we'll talk about the amount of square feet that home gym owners have. So with the possible answering options of 100, 200, 400, and 800 square feet options, 200 square feet had the highest response rate, about 38%. When I think of that, I think of like either a single car garage or half of a typical garage. And I think that's what a lot of people start with. They just kind of start with a half of their garage.
I like how you phrase that. That's how they start. It doesn't stay that way for long. Then it grows.
Yes. 100 and 400 square feet each had about 27% of the votes, and then only 9% have 800 square feet. So while 200 square feet was the highest popular answer, it was relatively spread out. And then let me talk about ceiling height. Ceiling height is a struggle for some, but only 15% have around 7 feet or less. And those people are probably in a basement, I'm assuming. We also mentioned earlier that 62% have ceiling heights around 8 or 9 feet. And then there's also 24% who are dealing with around 10 feet or more. And then lastly, while the majority are using only 1 or 2 walls, there's still about 45% that are utilizing 3 or 4 walls. So that kind of aligns with our first question of how many square feet do you have. Also is telling us that it's likely not a dedicated room for a home gym. So
Mark, I want to hear about your basement situation. I know we're going to ask you about your home gym later, but before we jumped on, we talked that we're both in a basement. Do you have like a basement room, a basement corner? How's your layout?
Yeah, so our basement, half of it's finished, and then we have the other side unfinished. And it's a pretty big basement overall. It's about 400 square feet is my space. Like I have like a little workshop over there, and then on the other side of the unfinished basement, my wife has storage for decorations and stuff. I don't know. Do your wives have like a decoration?
Yeah.
Like
storage is a big word in my house.
Yeah. Like I don't know. There's like 30 wreaths over there. Like who needs so many? Yeah, but I have 3 walls, and it's about 400 square feet, about 20 by 20, and I have rolled floor, rubber mats, unfinished ceilings.
What ceiling height? What do you have ceiling height?
I think 8. I think
Jake, was that you gonna say?
8 feet.
Mark, I'm with you, man. Having storage for the holidays where it's up for just a week or 2 or a month when it could be used as a home gym is ouch.
I know.
Depressing.
I know. Like I just always think like that could be like like a cardio room, or put like a sauna over in that space, and then like. Yeah, I don't know. There's just so much so much space that could be used for something else.
Yeah, sauna would be good.
Yeah.
Adam and I were actually just talking about this, how we have storage rooms, but we're putting stuff that is hardly ever used, and we could be making, we should be putting our podcast studios in there.
Yeah.
Well, we have to deal with storage for these holidays.
Yeah. I try not to complain too much.
Kids' toys too, man. And like baby clothes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Those have made their way.
What you guys' baby clothes storage looks like? I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, guest room closets, like literally stacked. Like if you open the door, there's like bins, like up, as soon as you open the door. So I don't know how that happened, but
I was gonna say I also have like a split basement. The unfinished, like they're both unfinished right now, but we're starting to finish the one larger side, which I should have claimed as gym, but I didn't. That's fine. Whatever. I moved on. And so I was promising my wife this like nice like basement landing walkway where you won't see my gym. So I was going to put up this separation wall, and it was going to be like a real clean look for her. But now I'm quickly running out of space, and there's no wall going up. It's just going to be you're going to walk down into the gym, and you're just going to have to deal with that as you walk over to the finished basement. It's just growing too fast.
Yeah.
I'll hear about it later.
She probably won't.
She won't.
Let's move on to plates. So this is another important topic for many. It's a question that many struggle with as they are first starting their home gym. So should I get bumper or iron plates? And consistent with everything we've seen in the past when comparing bumper versus iron plates, bumper plates are the easy winner with 56% of the votes compared to 31% iron. And then we also have another 13% voting whatever is cheapest. Most people like bumpers because they are quieter. They want to be able to drop the weights for like power cleans and other Olympic movements. And then you also have the diehard irons who are like, I'm not dropping it from above my waist. So I'm personally a bumper plate guy, mostly because I'm not strong enough to fill up a bar with over like 600 pounds on a regular basis or ever, actually. I'll admit it. It's just something I can live with while everyone else is sleeping within the house.
Yeah, I'm a mix. When I started expanding my gym, I thought like, oh, I should get bumper plates, And then I quickly realized that I don't really need them. I don't do many cleans or overhead stuff where I'm dropping the bar. But I do have a couple 45s and like some 25s and some 10s, mostly for displaying plate snacks. So most of my stuff is iron. And I have like, I don't even know how, I don't even want to count how many pounds of weights I have. But I have a lot of weights.
So Mark, you have mostly iron plates. Then what type of lifting do you typically do?
Mostly powerlifting, and then obviously the accessory work, and I have a lat tower and stuff like that. So I don't do any like CrossFit or anything like that. I'd say mostly powerlifting with my own like twist and your accessory movements.
Yeah, my space started so I could continue to Olympic weightlift. When I built my space in 2016, that's what I was doing. So it was bumper plates, and that's what I'd recommend for most people, just so they don't limit themselves, unless they can, definitively say they won't be doing any Olympic movements. Then we talked about it many times. Even if you're just deadlifting, some people think you need bumpers to deadlift on a horse stall mat, and you definitely don't. You can get away with just deadlifting with iron plates. So if you're never have and never will do Olympic movements, save your money, buy iron plates. But if you don't want to limit yourself, definitely go with bumpers.
Yeah, makes sense. And my wife goes to a different gym, but I definitely share the equipment, and she's not interested in iron plates. So if you are, if you're going to be dealing with multiple people lifting within the household, bumper plates might be the safer option for most people. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is flat bench versus adjustable bench covering your home gym needs. So it talked about in the summary that about 30% believe a flat bench covers their needs, whereas 82% think that an adjustable bench does. So we've done this survey in the past as well, and the results didn't change too much either. So from year to year, this is pretty much what you get. Most people say that the adjustable bench, while it may have like a gap or may not be quite as stable as a flat bench, a dedicated flat bench for powerlifting, beefy dudes, it gets the job done for the average person. And, I'm about 6'2", 220-ish, and a good adjustable bench does the job for me as well.
Yeah, I'm going to say adjustable bench for the same reason that I say bumper plates, and it's because you won't limit yourself. So there are some people who say, like, I never go with an incline, and whenever I press, I stand, or, I like to sit with no support for whatever core stability reasons, I guess. If you can definitively say you will never need to adjust your bench for incline presses, anything, then I guess you could save $150 and buy a flat bench. I just think it's the little extra money to have a ton of versatility.
I actually have the AB 5200. I love it. I started with, when I first upgraded, like the first renovation of my gym, I had the FB 3000 from Rep, just like their normal flat bench, because that's all I could get. Everything was literally out of stock for like 6 months. And I checked Titan, I wasn't going to drop like rogue money for a bench at that point, but I was like literally watching, like, I was trying to get the 3,100, and I could not find it. Like, it was, every time it like dropped, it sold like instantly. So finally the 5,200s came in stock, and I'm like, whatever, I'll splurge for it. I think the bench is like $500, and it's a great bench. But as far as home gym use, I do a little bit of incline bench, not a whole lot, but I like it just for dumbbell work. I like to, do dumbbell presses and stuff like that at an incline, or even just like reverse flies or anything, shoulder stuff like that. I like the versatility of the adjustable bench.
Agree, and I don't think you're alone. All right, good feedback, guys. The last topic we have here that we'll do a deep dive into is which rack accessory are you most interested in? And we're asking about larger options. We're asking jammer arms, belt squat, lat/low row attachment. About 20% said not interested in any, which is sad. But so we had 20% saying not interested in any. Lat/low row was the winner with 41% of the votes, and that was more than the belt squat and jammer arms combined. Not too surprising. We had this question last year as well, and lat/low row was the winner. Do you guys have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think the low row makes sense, just because a lot of people don't have the space to have a separate lat tower. And so I think initially when I was building out my gym, I was trying to get that low row attachment, and I started out with the PR 1100 from Rep, because that's all I could get. I couldn't get the low row attachment, and then eventually I upgraded to the Rogue RM3. I ended up getting a separate lat tower instead. I think that makes sense as far as like the numbers go.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that that's the most popular one.
All right, let's actually do a quick product highlight. So let's talk about the lat/low row attachment from Rep. One thing that I've always said is this is my favorite rack attachment I've ever used. And I would also say that if you're considering a rack from Rogue, Rep, or wherever, that this rack attachment is actually, if you value these movements, it's good enough to make you want to choose a rack over anything else. And I know Titan recently added something somewhat similar. It looks like it takes up a little bit more space, and there might be some other options relatively similar. But the Rep rack is a safe bet if you want to be able to add this option. So for one, it takes up a lot less space. Mark explained earlier that he has his own separate lat/low row station, but this one only takes up an additional 5 inches of depth and then adds 3 inches to the height of the rack, which isn't much at all considering the versatility it adds. Plus, it really doesn't get in the way of your other lifts. So for example, you can do lat pull downs and have the bench at the same time. So you can do both without either lifts being affected, or you can do low row and squats. So in general, it doesn't affect too much. If you want like a bench spotter, you'll have to use the front, and then also adjustable bench. If you want to do barbell adjustable bench, you'd also have to move up to the front of a likely 6-post rack or 4-post rack, wherever it is. In addition, the pulley movements are really smooth. Coming from a commercial gym, I can't really tell the difference. And then the overall quality is great. So it takes up little space, adds a ton of versatility, is built with high quality, and then it's just a better option for me than adding a standalone option. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And then that lat pull low row attachment for the 4,000, 5,000 for the Rep racks uses that dual rod, which makes it really smooth. I use a PR 1100, and so I have a 2x2 chrome post that my weight travels on. A little bit more friction when I go to Jake's gym and use his attachment. Man, that thing is smooth, it's heavy, which isn't a negative at all. You can use it for not only lat low rows, you can tricep push down, you can curl on it. I mean, it's a cable attachment. It's a great piece. And the price, Jake, tell me if I'm wrong, it's like $350 more? How much is it?
I think it's closer to like $500 now, like maybe $480 after everything in the industry went up, but still cheaper than like most standalone plate loaded options.
Sure. And then if you go with like a rogue rack, you have the slinger, which is on your arm, dropped in between. Just doesn't seem like an ideal option. I think if I had a different company's rack, I might go with the surplus strength, the UPS, the universal pulley system, just to get it out of in between the rack. But yeah, the rep attachments are awesome for lat low row.
Yeah, and the UPS might actually be my second favorite. So it's, while I love the rep option, if you have a rogue rack, I would recommend getting the surplus strength option. I also use that quite a bit. Added it onto a different portion of the rack, which if you're watching video, I think you can see.
Now you got to move left.
Oh yeah, that's right. There we go.
There it is. There she is.
There she is.
Mark, have you tried any other cable attachments before you got your standalone?
No, I didn't. I just I had the space, and I started with the Titan plate loaded pulley. I was actually impressed with it. I think when you like lube up the guide rods, and I changed out the pulleys too to some like aluminum ones, it was like super smooth, and I was actually super impressed with it. The only thing I didn't like was if you don't bolt it down or have it on like some kind of platform bolted down, when there's certain movements, like it'll like move the actual like machine or tip it a little bit, depending on like how much weight you're using. So I didn't like that. Eventually I sold that, and it's funny, I came across and you guys will hear this when I get into more details, but for like $50 I found this pulley system on Marketplace. And initially I was just going to retrofit the weight stack onto my Titan, but I ended up putting it together, and I actually liked it better. And this thing was from like 1995, and it's a heavier gauge steel, but it's still 2x2 tubing. I preferred it better, so I sold the Titan tower, and I think I might have come out on top with that one, because when I bought the tower initially, the price was like $4.99, and I think now it's like $5.99. So I sold it cheaper than Titan selling it now, but it was more than what I sold it for more than what I actually paid for. So I came out on top there.
Adam and I are pretty big fans of that Titan standalone option as well.
Plate loaded one was really impressive. Yeah.
Tough to beat for the money.